Hello, everybody. So we'll start in a minute. Please let me know how the audio balance is, because I was looking at my latest Bioshock stream, and I noticed that like I'm way too quiet relative to what's like being said on screen. So just let me know, because I should be louder than Aurini. So I'm sitting here. So I am drinking a Kool-Aid Jammer, a strawberry kiwi one, and I got some water. Unfortunately, I don't drink alcohol. Um, I do have the sound effect ready. And I do have a bottle of aspirin that I guess I can kind of use as the equivalent. So, that being said, I'll just give it another minute or two and then we'll start. Let's see here. Let me just refresh this. Let's see here. Argent is Santa Claus with that laughter. Oh, I don't have any. Let me see if I can find a lighter sound effect. Okay. So we will get started. This is going to be fun. Uh, I've watched about I think like half an hour of this. This is like this is some epic shit. Let me know if my like mic's distorted, because I hadn't realized like some of it lately's been kind of distorted. So let's start. Such a fucking goof. Yes, the ice. Yes. Yes, the alcohol. Wearing his glasses and his black. He can at least fit a couch in his apartment. I can't fit a couch in my apartment.
In America, some people want small mommy GF with small Milky. But we need to make sure the tent is big enough for the mommy GF with biggie Milky and penis. My God, I need this.
Why would he play that? I don't get it.
We live in a society. I love the hell out of that meme. It's so non sequitur that I don't think anybody can properly... I don't think anybody even knows what that meme means.
Yeah, it's a reference to how, like, often people say we live in a society blank. It's just kind of pointing out that it's a meme in politics where people say we live in a society. Um, like, it's something both people on the left and on the right use. Like, we live on a society where, like, we throw out thousands of pounds of food and yet other people are starving. We live in a society where people are chopping their dicks off. It's kind of that, but it's also just because it's kind of become almost a, like, so it goes equivalent type of thing.
You can speculate about what it means. We live in a society where pseudo-intellectual, Brahmin liberal bullshit. Really? During the live stream?
Yeah, space
That's when we
talk.
must worry the bone?
Space talk.
Said girlfriend. Terrible. Terrible. No. No. Gotta remember that we live in a society. I think the fact that it just is so non sequitur, that is the joke. That is the core of it. Because what is left to say? What else can be said at this point? You know,
Well, given that this video is 3.5 hours long, apparently there's a lot more that
everywhere,
can be said.
freaks and Harrys, dykes and fairies. Where's the sanity? Eat the rich, feed the poor, until there are no rich no more.
What is he
That's
talking
going
about?
outright Christian. I think the core of the meme is that there's really, well, first, there's an undercurrent. Do we live in a society? If we do, what are the principles? What's the ethos? What's the purpose? What's the product of this? Who is this society? Hey!
Who is society? What is society? Let's find out. Let me know if the audio balance is okay.
Gishmi hasn't been here since YouTube got terminated. Hey, glad to have you, man. Glad to have you. So it's kind of got that implicit, that sardonic undercurrent. We live in a society. Do we? But more directly, it simply points out that what is there to say at this point, aside from we live in a society? Because we've hit peak clown world. Now, there's another peak. There's always another peak. It's like the abyss.
Who is society? What is society? Let's find out.
In Dungeons and Dragons lore, there's always a deeper level to the abyss. Right? You think you get to the deepest level, there's always one level more. You think we've hit rock bottom, there's another level underneath of that. But we've hit the point where the spiraling is spiraling out of
What?
control.
The spiraling is spiraling out of control. That's like fucking Shakespeare right there.
I'm going to give you some examples of what I'm talking about.
Why is this lagging?
Of the spiraling, the spiraling. It's like buffaloing, buffalo. It's even worse.
What the fuck does that even mean?
We're even past the buffalo sentence. So now I need to Google this quickly. trying to remember that well-known pedophile. No,
What?
pedophile. Pederast. The well-known pederast in Hollywood. Kevin Spacey.
What the fuck is he talking about?
So I've got an interesting story for you folks.
What?
It's about Kevin Spacey, and
Is
it's
it?
about Star Trek Picard.
It's about Kevin
You don't need
Spacey.
to know anything about Star Trek Picard. You don't need to. I don't. Bear with me, guys. I promise the story will make sense. Just bear with me.
I don't think so.
So in Star Trek Picard, they're reusing some of the characters from Star Trek Voyager. In Star Trek Voyager, there was a character named Icheb. Don't
Who the hell is Icheb? I don't even remember who he was. Let me just look this up while he
worry
rambles
about
on.
who he is. Doesn't matter. We're talking about Hollywood drama, not Star Trek drama. Now, in Star Trek Picard, Icheb was given a very gruesome death. Why would they do that to a character who was one of the good guys? Soy Lennial, thanks for joining us. Well, it turns out that about 5-10 years back, 5-10 years,
Oh yeah, he was the
there was an
Borg kid,
incident
right?
where an actor, I believe it was also a Star Trek actor, but doesn't matter, called out Kevin Spacey for being inappropriate at one of these Hollywood parties when said actor was 14 years old. And Icheb said the wrong thing. The actor that played Icheb said the wrong thing about all of this. And so the actor that played Icheb has been blacklisted by Hollywood.
What the fuck is
And
this?
he is hated by Hollywood. And so they gave the character, his breakout role, they gave that character an extremely gruesome death as the most petty sort of revenge you can imagine. So you guys must be thinking right now that this Icheb actor called out, like he must be some sort of conservative. He must be some sort of
What the fuck? What is he talking about? So we live in a society where it spins out of spins out of spins. And because of that, the actor who plays a character from Voyager said something about Kevin Spacey 5 years ago. So because the guy who said something about Kevin Spacey 5 years ago, he has like a really gruesome death for a character in an unrelated TV. Like, what the fuck is this? This is like fine. What the fuck?
a right winger called out the pedophile culture in Hollywood, like all these right wing Pizzagate conspiracists are doing, and that's why Hollywood hates him, because he's conservative, right? No. Icheb's comment, which was on Twitter, this is where all this garbage goes down, right? Was that boo-hoo, everybody knows that the gay scene starts when you're 14, and this is just liberal PC bullshit. Stop whining, you weren't molested, you enjoyed it.
What? Did he say that, or did someone say that? Those eyes. Put the glasses back on.
That's the comment that got him blacklisted in Hollywood. Standing up for Kevin Spacey. Hey, I know Kevin Spacey's a good guy. He's never forced sex on a 14-year-old. It's all...
Okay, I just want to ask somebody. No, but I don't get it. So did he defend Kevin Spacey or did he go after him? Because it seems like this narrative is changing. Okay, people in the chat, am I crazy here? Because I feel like he said that the guy went after Kevin Spacey, but then now he's saying he supported Kevin Spacey. So like, I just want to ask the chat, like, am I stupid here? Am I just like, did I miss something?
Always been consensual. That's what Egypt was saying. And that's what got him blacklisted in Hollywood. But, and here's the funny thing. So the Pizzagate, the Hollywood pedophile, that was liberal political correctness, according to Egypt.
I can't follow this.
Spiraling.
Okay, Boogie says, sounds like he defended Spacey in a backhanded way, pointing out the gay predation. Yeah, I guess. That was not
Here's
explained
another
very well.
example from science fiction franchises that should have died 20 years ago. Star Wars. So, there's a group that they're known as the Reylo shippers. They're the ones that fantasize about Rey from The Force Awakens having
What the
an
fuck does this
affair
have to do with anything?
with Darth Emo, right from the new Star Wars movies. And they were rewarded at the end, but and this oh god, the third Star Wars movie was just, it wasn't even bad, it was so disappointing. It's not even really worth ripping apart. It's just kind of sad. But like one of the multiple endings, the one that they decide to go with.
Did you notice how much he talks about like the lowest common denominator? Like he talks about like Picard and he talks about Star Wars. Like not even just Star Wars, like new Star Wars reboot shit. Like
Was with Rey and Darth Emo making out at the end of it. It takes a truly degenerate, unprincipled sort of woman to take something. Now, listen, Darth Vader, all of the evil that he did was to accomplish an objective end. When they blew up Princess Leia's home planet, well, that was a home planet that was in rebellion. It was just being secretive about it. They were harboring rebels on the planet.
were they? Do we know that?
Well, were there a lot of civilian casualties? Yeah. So Darth Vader doesn't care about civilian casualties. That's what makes him evil. But he's only blowing up the planet to accomplish his goal.
But Vader didn't blow up the planet. Tarkin blew up the planet. Vader wasn't in command of the Death Star. Tarkin was in command of the Death Star. It was part of the Tarkin doctrine. Like, I don't know if Vader would have blown up Alderaan, or he would have just gone straight to Mon Calamari, which I think was the intended target. But no, blowing up Alderaan is like part of the Tarkin doctrine.
Whereas Darth Emo commits evil acts just to show off how evil he is. So of the two, Darth Emo is objectively worse than Darth Vader.
Am I louder than Aurini? I just want to, someone if they could type in the chat.
A war criminal that does it not just to achieve his ends, but to show off how evil he is. And so the idea of Rey, who's supposed to be a good character with moral principles and standards, not just being sexually attracted to him, but going along with that attraction, is really freaking disturbing, isn't it? From a right-wing perspective, it's like that's a degenerate feminist woman right there.
What?
Well, and yes, okay, it was Grand Moff Tarkin that blew up. I know. I mean, it's not like Vader protested it. And actually, you know, a good point though. Grand Moff Tarkin was actually a little bit more. I saw an interesting analysis showing that Star Wars always has the big bad and the lesser bad, and Darth Vader was always the lesser bad. And it's the lesser bad can be redeemed,
Yeah, it's a meme. It's called a dragon. There's like,
but the big bad can't. And yeah,
oh my
Grand
god,
Moff Tarkin, he was kind of showing off the size of his dick when he did that.
like that cigar, really.
Well, yeah, Vader force choked a bitch, but he wasn't really gonna kill the guy. He was just kind of making a point. It's like when you grab a kid by a throat, drag him up a flight of stairs, throw him out of the place, and like he's not injured.
You speak
kind
from
of made
experience?
the point that you could injure him.
Okay.
So you know what? Yeah, Darth Vader didn't even blow up any planets. Darth Vader, not that bad of a guy.
What?
Dick boss. But, you know, if you do the job properly, he probably rewards you.
What the fuck does this have to do with anything? I kind of ship Raylo just because it's like heterosexual. It's heterosexual white couple.
Whereas, anyway, point is that it's degenerate femininity that is attracted to somebody like Darth Emo. The sort of woman that's attracted to Darth Emo is the sort of woman attracted to like a gangster piece of garbage with tattoos that murders people over $50, right? That's the sort of woman that's attracted. Like that's what Darth Emo is. He's a psychopathic gangster with emotional problems because his mummy was a prostitute.
What?
That his uncle touched him inappropriately one time. That's Darth Emo. That's your average gangster on the street there. Molestation victim. So now you and me, we would look at the Raylos and say that's degenerate,
Why?
right?
I actually don't get why it's degenerate. I mean, it's like the most normal, vanilla, non-degenerate pairing you could have. So, like, what isn't degenerate in it? Like, Ray and what's his name? Poe Dameron and Finn? I don't know. Maybe, like, Kylo Ren is weird looking, but I mean, like, he is 6'3" and buff. Like, women like guys who are tall and, like, buff. So, I don't know.
As right now, ongoing right now, there is a civil war happening within the Star Wars community between the writers and creators that have been given control of the IP and the Raylo fans.
What?
And it's not because the new IP creators are really moral, upstanding. No. They hate the Raylos because the Raylo, the dark triad, like there's at least a glimmer of God's light. There's a glimmer of woman attracted to Tarzan because he's strong.
What the fuck?
There's just this little glimmer of righteousness in Raylos. Like, at least they don't want to sleep with the stormtrooper, right? They don't want to sleep with the janitor. They want to sleep with the psychopathic killer. And, you know, we're talking about low female virtue, but sleeping with the psychopathic killer is probably a step above sleeping with the cowardly janitor. But the new people are angry with the Raylos for being moralistic.
Okay, I think I do way better Star Wars from a right-wing perspective. I mean, Arini's such a fucking phony. He doesn't know anything about Star Wars. He doesn't care anything about Star Wars. He doesn't even know like what this is. He's just doing this to like try to be like in with the kids. He's just fucking like dad posting at this point in time. It's just it's sad.
For being feminine, for it's spiraling. Like, and there's always
Oh, guys, spoiler alert. He talks about Command and Conquer later. He doesn't mention Cade, but he talks about Command and Conquer. Full Metal American says, "What's wrong with being a janitor? Nothing's wrong with being a janitor." Aurini, like, you have to keep in mind, one of the things I really hated about Aurini was that kind of made me dislike him was how he kept making fun of Beckloff for working at a box factory. Now, Beckloff doesn't work at a box factory, but he works at a blue collar job. And like Aurini thought there was something demeaning or like that was an insult to say somebody worked at like a box factory. But like boxes are like one of the most useful things possible. So like I don't know. I don't get it.
deeper level. There's always a deeper level, and they'll find the deeper level.
Not everyone could be a pseudo intellectual making shitty YouTube videos. I mean, I do that, but I have a day job too, so.
And you might ask, why don't they just produce entertainment that is entertaining?
Like Fallout.
When you're aiming for the mark and you miss the mark a little bit, you can always recalibrate your aim. You can always get closer next time. But if your goal is to miss the mark, there's always a more creative way to miss the mark.
I don't think Aurini even has a job. I mean, like, I'm not trying to dox him, and like his personal life isn't really any of my business, but it does bother me how smug he is about like people who work hard for a living.
I remember when things that were considered ultimate degeneracy growing up don't even rate as mainstream anymore. Exactly. Because and that's like the degeneracy has gotten to the point where it's just so mundane. We're talking about female celebrities writing books about shoving pebbles up their younger sister's vagina when they were prepubescent. Like, that's not even titillating. That's not even... That's just pathetic. Okay, that's the level of degeneracy we've gotten to, where it's not even exciting anymore. It's just pathetic. I want to take a step back from this for a moment, and then we're going to return to it.
Take a step back? How can you take a step back from something? Like, I don't even know what the fuck is going on.
So I decided recently to give Fallout 3 a second chance.
Oh boy, here we go.
I'd played, about 10 hours, maybe 20 hours of that game previously. And I was just so incredibly turned off by it.
It's always about Fallout. Always.
Well, first of all, I was turned off just by the entire... Like, it wasn't isometric. It was Bethesda making it. That right there really turned me off. So I wasn't really giving it a fair shot at the time. And then playing through it, the fact that everything's so crammed together in the world, and the first-person shooter and RPG mechanics hadn't really shaken out properly. Then the first character you meet, first you get that weird sheriff dude, then you get Moira, then you get some guy that asks you to blow up a town for no reason. I'm like, seriously, this is the frickin' game? This is the frickin' game. Then you've got these super mutants that don't look like super mutants that are on the East Coast for God knows what. Well, actually, it turns out they intentionally look different from the other super mutants. The Brotherhood of Steel even comments on this. Brotherhood of Steel are acting like saviors. They're not supposed. They comment on that. There's a justification for where the super mutants are coming from. Oh, and Three Dog. Three Dog. This time playing through it, I didn't pursue the main quest just because I really didn't want to deal with Three Dog. And then I accidentally bypassed him. So I never had to meet that soul patch, smarmy, indoor sunglass wearing piece of shit.
Oh, you gotta listen to that again.
And the first-person shooter and RPG mechanics hadn't really shaken out properly. Then the first character you meet, first you get that weird sheriff dude.
This is amazing.
Then you get Moira. Then you get some guy that asks you to blow up a town for no reason. I'm like, seriously, this is the frickin' game? This is the frickin' game. Then you've got these super mutants that don't look like super mutants.
Okay, I gotta
that are
clip
on the
this.
East Coast for
This
God
is
knows what.
amazing.
Well, actually, it turns out they...
Sorry, guys, for doing it. I have to, like, clip this. This is fucking amazing that he said that. And I don't think he even understood. Do you think he, like... I'm sorry, I'm just getting my clips too loud.
They intentionally look different from the mutants. The Brotherhood of Steel even comments on this. Brotherhood of Steel are acting like saviors. They're not supposed. They comment on that. There's a justification for where the super mutants are coming from. Oh, and Three Dog. Three Dog. This time playing through it, I didn't pursue the main quest just because I really didn't want to deal with Three Dog. And then I accidentally bypassed him. So I never had to meet that soul patch, smarmy, indoor sunglass wearing piece of shit. I didn't have to deal with that piece of garbage. And the game was far more tolerable. Now, listen, the game has...
This video is less than a day old. This video is 21 hours old.
Game has flaws because the first time that it was a unique thing that they were trying right there. Okay, I know there's the thing. I played Oblivion before that for about 2 hours before I turned that piece of garbage off.
I got that clip.
Point is, I've been reevaluating the game, and I think it's, let me put it, I think it's actually a good prototype. Fallout franchise had been dead for, 10 years at that point? So, reinvigorating the franchise, prototype. Open world, first-person shooter, RPG. That first time that had ever been done, as far as I am aware of. Right, and yeah, you kind of got Oblivion, but
I'm pretty sure that wasn't the first time that happened. I don't know. Maybe someone in the chat can let me know if like what the first time that happened was. Um. Anyways, if anybody wants the clip, I'm just posting a link to the clip in chat.
Not, and yes, it is Oblivion with guns, but it's Oblivion with guns, and guns really, really do change everything. New art style, which I wouldn't give the art style 10 out of 10, but I'd give it 9 out of 10. It departs from the old Fallout, but I think I think that was a good decision. I like the vault suits a lot better in the new Fallout compared to the classic ones would look terrible in high definition. The use of 40s music, I think that was a mistake. The 40s music is good in the intro, but But again, experiments. The wrist-mounted pip. You look at Fallout New Vegas and even Fallout 4. You know what? It actually is a pretty darn good formula. I really enjoyed the exploration, right? Like just traipsing around, seeing what's there, finding different stuff.
Oh, it didn't post? Okay.
There's a lot of fun
My bad.
in that. And there's value in it as well because it's an RPG. You explore around Grand Theft
make it
Auto
later.
and you just find, okay, some pretty graphics, but who cares? Like, you explore around this, you find a lot of value.
I'll fix it later.
There's gameplay value. What I'm saying is I was too harsh on Fallout 3 the first time. It's actually not as terrible as I initially thought. Now, it is still a Bethesda game. We might later on talk about Bethesda games, but I want to wrap this back around to the political point.
I'll post that later.
Okay, I gotta address something. Gives me that shit said the music in Fallout Vegas was great. Yeah, because they were, like, when you think about Vegas, you don't want to think about the fat people in sweatpants with fanny packs. You want to think about the Rat Pack. You want to think about the glamour that Vegas does have. I mean, when you think about Vegas, you don't want to think about a statistical sample. Vegas is not about a statistical sample, it's about the experience.
What the fuck does that mean?
The romanticism of it.
There's a romanticism?
The music in New Vegas, like they picked great music because the music reminds us of the Rat Pack. It reminds us of that previous era where people were fancier. Fallout New Vegas also really lets you play dress up. Everybody wears bloody hoodies and t-shirts these days. It's depressing. Whereas Vegas, you get to play dress up, whether it's as like a super soldier or as a like you win the fedora, when you're gambling, and the music suits that, and it suits the narrative. It's not this every song is about atomic war garbage. So yeah, the music in Fallout 3 is it's a bit on the nose. I mean, all of Fallout 3 is on the nose. But they were trying to breathe life back into this dead franchise, so, maybe being on the nose wasn't the worst thing. Maybe you needed baby's first Fallout. The leveling system is actually... It's not as complex as the original ones, but it's not bad. The most interesting stats from Vegas are the suicides. Stop being negative. I love Las Vegas. God, I miss that place.
Of course you love Las Vegas.
Anyway, yeah, Fallout 3 had flaws, but it was maybe not as bad as I thought it was.
What's a hot take?
Now, to the politics.
Okay, this is going to be fucking amazing. This is like the greatest. His take on Fallout is so fucking bad. And I'm not even like a big Fallout guy. I don't know a ton about it, but I feel like he's 100% wrong on this. 0% right. And you guys in the chat can let me know if I'm way off base and he gets Fallout and I'm just like dumb.
I remember when what was it? Good Lord, was it 10 years ago? I sat down and played the Command and Conquer series.
Yes! Yes! Oh, fuck, I hit the
bad.
wrong. Oops, I hit.
As I thought it was.
Okay, sorry. What the
Now,
fuck?
to the politics.
Okay, that was weird. Aurini talking about Command and Conquer is like fucking Christmas. Look at that Smuckles.
I remember when what was it? Good Lord, was it 10 years ago? I sat down and played the Command and Conquer series. And it just immediately jumped out at me that the GDI was the State Department.
What?
And the Brotherhood of Nod was the CIA.
What?
Right? The whole game is this metaphor for the internal political struggle within the United States projected onto the world stage.
What the fuck kind of a take is that? What, like... Nod is the CIA? What? What? Let's hear that again. I don't know like what the fuck that even like. That's like, I'm not big brained enough to understand this.
I remember when what was it? Good Lord, was it 10 years ago? I sat down and played the Command and Conquer series. And it just immediately jumped out at me that the GDI was the State Department.
Okay.
And the Brotherhood of Nod was the CIA. Right? The whole game is this metaphor for the internal political struggle
It isn't
within
at
the
all.
United States projected onto the world stage. The Brahmins versus the Amerikaners. The neoliberals versus the neocons. Right? This internal struggle that's happening in America projected into the blue team and the red team, the good guys and the bad guys.
What the fuck? GDI are Brahmins, liberal Brahmins, and Nod is Americana? How the fuck is Nod Americana? What is he even talking about? This is like the greatest take. Like, sorry, I have to listen to this again.
The Conquer series.
Okay, I'm sorry, this has been the last
it
time.
Just immediately jumped out at me that the GDI was the State Department.
Okay.
And the Brotherhood of Nod was the CIA,
The CIA. Okay.
right? The whole game is this metaphor for the internal political struggle within the United States projected onto the world stage. The Brahmins versus the Amerikaners, the neoliberals versus the neocons. Right? This internal struggle that's happening in America projected into the blue team and the red team, the good guys and the bad guys on the world stage. And, you know, playing Fallout 3, it's the exact same thing, isn't it? I mean, you've got the, you know, your father. He's one of the good whites. He's one of the Brahmins. He wants to give free water to everybody in the wasteland. And you've got the Brotherhood of Steel, who's looking out for the common folk. And you've got Three Dog, awoo, who you got to fight the good fight, and it's capitalized. The good fight is capitalized. And what is the good fight, Mr. Free Dog? One of the best lines comes when you're in the radio building, the Galaxy News radio building, and you ask one of the Brotherhood of Steel, I think the sergeant, and he's like, it's the last free radio of the people.
I can't take
It's
it.
a jerk with a transmitter. The Enclave is broadcasting on all the other channels. It's nothing but propaganda. You sound like you watch a lot of Fox News.
Could anybody follow that at all? Now, admittedly, I think the biggest flaw of the Command and Conquer series is that GDI is just very underdeveloped. Like they just didn't really develop the lore behind them. They aren't interesting. They don't have any of like the cool LARPy shit that Nod does. None of like the GDI figures are like as charismatic as Kane or Anton Slavic or and GDI doesn't have as many QTs as Nod does. Nod is like composed of like really hammy alpha males and hot blondes. I think is how I described Nod. And yeah.
Oh my god, and then I love how obviously evil the Enclave is as soon as you step out of the vault. First of all, they're playing traditional American music. I find that very morally suspect.
No, like I get this part about Fallout 3 is actually coherent. This actually makes sense, this part here. But my point is like the other like last 10 minutes made no sense at all.
And then in Megaton, you run into a guy, this old dude that just keeps spouting how awesome the Enclave is. And you counter this foolish Amerikaner. You point out, wouldn't the founding fathers want us to have guns so that we could protect our... Wouldn't they want us to question democracy? He goes, you don't sound like a true patriot! Oh my god, like the game is just so... The political struggle they wrote in the game
Yeah, it is shit.
is just so bloody, contemporary, and tired.
Yeah, it is. I agree.
For 200 or 300 years now, The entire Anglo world has been nothing but Brahmin versus Amerikaner, the good whites versus the bad whites. And it is so frickin' tiresome.
It is. I agree. He's right about this. Why couldn't he just started out with this?
And I mean, like, at the end, when you have, not the end, sorry, I'm halfway through. Colonel Autumn, is it? You know, he puts, he's like, give me the secrets to Project Purity. And your dad's
Colonel
like,
Autumn was a
no,
Chad.
I won't. And so he shoots a woman. A woman scientist, by the way. Like, who's probably crucial to the project. He shoots her. He doesn't shoot your dad in the leg. He shoots the woman. Because that's what a Republican would do. It's so blatantly left-right fight. And this is where it really disappoints as a Fallout game, by the way, because
I'm gonna be honest. I was really angry you couldn't side with the Enclave. That actually made me hate Fallout 3.
Fallout is not about American politics. America died
What?
over a century before the game even started. Nobody cares about American politics anymore. Even in the Lonesome Road expansion pack for Fallout New Vegas, where the antagonist is wearing the symbol of America on his back and has renamed himself after a Union general, nobody cares about America. In fact, there's hatred for America for doing this to the world.
Wait, nobody cares about America, but there's hatred towards America. Okay, guys, you heard it here. Nothing about the Fallout series has anything to do with America. Nobody cares about it. No one cares at all about. That's not like a critical part about Fallout. Like the whole old world versus new world thing. That's not a thing. It's just not. Yeah.
Nobody cares about neocons and neoliberals in the Fallout universe. Right? Both those people suck. They brought about World War III.
Really, no one cares about America.
Fallout 1. You've got the master trying to, instill a perfected eugenic program that's not perfect. And then you've got people just trying to survive. In Fallout 2, you've got the Enclave, which is everything wrong and ruling the roost for a few centuries now.
I think it just cut there.
We know they borrowed, they stole, they grabbed, that. Socialism and leftism and revolutionary politics always devolves into
Okay, let
law,
me just go back.
rule, or military uniform. You had this stuff that you rules and looks the other way while you've got death camps.
I don't know why that just cut ahead.
Next, you've got, so that's the first group, is the conservative. So, why did they throw tea into the Boston Harbor?
Okay, we have a hot take coming up.
And they've just been steamrolling over which actually makes me embarrassed what the people I've hung out with over the past 10 years. Right, like there was certainly an instigator there, but then the response was out of... Got people just trying to survive.
I'm just trying to find...
As soon as
I
you
don't know
step
why
out
it
of the
cut.
vault. First of all,
Okay, sorry about that, guys.
American politics. Right-wing presidential candidates, even though nobody said these quotes. And Richardson spouts off all these quotes. There's the arrogance of the American system is what the enclave represents. And that's not even the interesting political struggle. The interesting political struggle is the NCR, Vault City, what's Reading going to do, how did the crime families in New Reno get involved and all. That's the interesting political struggle. Marcus founding a city of humans, mutants, Brotherhood of Steel, and ghouls. That's interesting. And then Fallout New Vegas, you got 4 different factions that are, well, 3. You got really interesting post-war groups with unique ideologies, with only tenuous connections to old America. Nobody cares about the war. That happened a century ago. Nobody cares about liberals and Democrats. That's ancient. But Fallout 3, liberals versus Republicans.
Is it though? I guess on some level.
Now here's the thing.
Oops. Fuck.
Liberals versus Republicans.
Okay, there we go. Now here's the thing.
Now here's the thing. This liberal versus Republican thing. Well, I can't speak for you.
You'll try though.
I'm going to speak for you. I'm going to make some assumptions about you if you're listening to this live stream.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to make a few assumptions about you.
You're very handsome like me.
And if these assumptions are correct, then the left-right, like, this doesn't represent you. You're not left or right. Okay? This left-right thing is nothing but a sectarian war. It's a intra-ethnic war. It's Hatfields versus McCoys. And I'm not a Hatfield or a McCoy. You know, if you really want me to say who I think was morally right over... Yeah, I could make some statements on the Hatfields versus the McCoys.
What?
Right, like there was certainly an instigator there, but then the response was out of proportion, and it all spirals out of control from there.
Am I stupid
And
for not
me
getting this?
Taking a stance on all of this kind of puts me in harm's way, doesn't it? All of a sudden, bullets are going to be coming in my direction. When really both sides are in the wrong.
What
Both
sides?
sides are incorrect.
Which sides? What are you talking about?
I've also been reading through some, rereading Moldbug recently, which actually makes me embarrassed what the people I've hung out with over the past 10 years.
Like Beckloff, that fucking guy who ruined my life.
Should have known better. Should have known better, but
He's talking about Moldbug like this is fucking 2020.
yeah, let me let me paraphrase Moldbug at you. Now, ever since the collapse of the old regime, which, by the way, that's what we are. We're
The
old
ancient
regime.
Okay.
Ever since the collapse of that,
Okay.
We've had the revolutionaries. And we've had the counter.
You get that? Everybody else in the world, other than me, is left winged. If you're watching this stream, you're a fucking genius like me.
Revolutionaries. Now, the revolutionaries, we know who they are, and the revolution never ends. There's always a new revolution. You know, at one point, they were so revolutionary they were throwing tea into the ocean while dressed as Indians for some reason that I've never understood. And, you know, but it wasn't really about the tax. It was about throwing tea into the harbor. Same thing. Do you think these guys blocking the railways right now in Canada, do you think it's about funding for native arts? Or do you think it's about blocking railways? Same thing with the revolutionaries back then. They just wanted to throw tea in the harbor. So they threw tea in the harbor. And they've just been steamrolling over Western civilization, Anglo civilization in particular, but Western civilization in general. Revolutionaries have been ruling the roost for a few centuries now. We know who they are. We know they always, like, the revolution never ends. They always spiral. Fire is cool. Exactly. Fire is cool. That's what they stand for. Counter-revolutionaries. These are the ones that I find them more interesting. I think you do as well. There's three groups in the counter-revolutionaries. The first group are the conservatives. The conservatives are they're the ones that are trying to rationalize what the revolutionaries are doing. They're trying to rationalize and justify the last revolution. Perfect example of this is libertarians. So, why did they throw tea into the Boston Harbor? Because fire is cool. But the libertarians want to sit down and write a massive tome explaining the rights of man and where those deride, and free market economy and decentralized legal systems, and etc., etc., etc. See, I'm with the Swedish military on this.
What?
You could read Woodcock and try and understand anarchist economic theory. Or you could take a piece of wood and carve a cock
Or you could read Siege.
out of it and put it in the center of your base camp, because why the fuck not? And I'm with the latter.
You're with who?
Ancien regime.
Everybody else in the world other than me.
So that's the conservatives. The libertarians they're the eccentric conservatives that are still worried about, like, 5 revolutions ago, right? The modern conservatives, well, Democrats are the real racists. Democrats are okay being racist these days, okay? Like, racist doesn't mean what it meant back in 19... The modern conservative is trying to justify, explain, and solidify the 1965 Immigration Act. That's what they're trying to do.
That's a hot take.
They're basically the PR. They're like the left brain is in control of everything, and it's the right brain trying to explain what the left brain just did and make it seem like there was a good reason for it. Next, you've got, so that's the first group, is the conservatives. Next group, on the one hand, very romantic group.
Who?
I won't deny I got a bit of an admiration for. I kind of like this. I kind of want them to win, right?
Oh, here
Even
we
though
go. Here we go.
They're just as bad as the left.
Yeah.
Right? They're just as out of control. They're more regimented than the left, but they're just as out of control. They're just as insane.
Uh-huh.
But at least they've got style, which the left absolutely lacks. So the second group on the right, on the counter-insurgency, the second group is the fascists. Now, the nice things about them is that they embrace all the symbolism of the ancien regime. There's something just so fantastic about seeing those Hugo Boss wearing soldiers marching down the street, seeing those girls in dresses holding flowers, everybody saluting all the time. It is frickin' fantastic. I love it.
Of course you do.
Then you get a leader who starts playing evolutionary psychology politics with his generals and looks the other way while you've got death camps. Which, you can't even afford death camps, but somehow they afford death camps, right?
What?
Because, again, they're just as insane as the left. Because the problem with the fascists is they are trying to appeal to populism. You don't get nobility by popular vote. The proletariat does not get to choose who the nobility is. You don't get the Renaissance by the mass franchise. And see me, I'm pro-Renaissance. I am not pro-franchise. And the big difference between the Third Reich and what we see today is that when the Third Reich was sorting things out over in the motherland, you still had a lot of traces of the ancien regime.
What the fuck is he talking about?
You still had a lot of that old German nobility just kind
I'll start talking again later
lying
on.
around
Once
the
we,
corners.
I don't know.
You had a lot of this stuff. You could, oh, hey, here's a two-headed eagle. Oh, hey, here's military uniform. You had this stuff that you could bring on to cosplay as an actual traditional society. And they did a fantastic job cosplaying as a real civilization.
I'll get back to I don't even know
But
how
that's
to
all
address
that
this. So
the Third Reich was. It was a cosplay. At the end of the day, well, National Socialist. What is socialist? It's revolutionary. What is nationalist? It's revolutionary. Nationalism is as much a part of the left as socialism or genocide.
Mm-hmm.
They borrowed, they stole, they grabbed. They were leftist ideas, nationalism and socialism, painted to look like actual civilization, but then they devolved into the exact same thing that socialism and leftism and revolutionary politics always devolves into: mob rule, mass death, insane policies, and genocide. This time around, could you imagine fascism this time? You don't have to. Go on the internet.
Uh-huh.
Fascism this time around. We have no traces of the ancien regime anymore. This isn't Germany in the 30s. This is why America in the 2020s. The best you can hope for from modern fascists is a Sonic the Hedgehog movie where he doesn't show off his smelly feet and fart after eating a chili dog because the fetishists would enjoy that.
It's fucking like, that is based. That is fucking based. Whatever he just said. I don't even know.
My Little Pony without the sexual fetishes is the best you could hope for from a modern fascist.
Amen, brother. Amen. He's right. He's so fucking right. I can't even, like, believe it.
So yeah, fascism is a dead end, as much as conservatism is a dead end.
That's why I should be running society.
Which leaves the third group,
Me. And why I'm
which
the...
is us.
Us! Yes! I should be
And
running
quite
society.
frankly, now we are counter-revolutionary. But that doesn't mean that we're part of the right.
Literally, him and the 5 people who are watching this are the only true people. They're the only, like, people left who we should care about, I guess. I don't even, like, everything this dude says is about how he should run society. Like, it's so just transparent. It's kind of, like, sad, to be honest.
Well, of course they're pushing Nazi Hunter. Because the Nazis are horning in on their territory. Right? They're the... Well, no, the Nat Sox aren't fascist. Fascist are Nat Sox. It's... At the end of the day, they're populist. If you are populist, that's socialism. If you believe in democracy, that's socialism. If you believe in activism, that's socialism. That's the left. The core of revolutionaryism is appealing to the proletariat. The tide of revolution that has just swept over Europe over the past 3 centuries, totaled buildings, destroyed familial lines,
Just
eliminated
what?
languages. It was populism that did that. It was handing the reins of power over to the proletariat.
Yeah. Exactly.
I said on a stream a little while back that if you eliminated all of Donald Trump's enemies, right? Just like poof, overnight they're gone. No more Democrats, no more swamp, just the right. The right would immediately devolve into purity testing and infighting. Gives me that shit says Martin Luther was the original pussy liberal. He hated Moses for being a big meanie.
Did
Does
he?
he not know that the angel of the Lord is, i.e. Jesus, commanded all the punishments and cleansings? Word, brother. The left-right thing is nothing but Protestantism. And Protestantism is nothing.
Dude, you had a guy on who you like suck up to who said that the Catholic Church should have destroyed the Bible. Like, I don't know if you can really like go after these people.
Nothing but heresy. And it's the heresy
That guy's not a
I'm going to do
heretic,
whatever
though.
I feel like, yo. It's the heresy of feels over facts. And I'll give you a personal example. Do you remember about a year ago, there were a few particular individuals spreading rumors that Davis Aurini had joined a pagan cult?
Yes! He can't stop talking about it. Every single time. Every single fucking time. He has to bring this up. Mekaloff, if you're here, this dude is in love with you. I don't know. This video is from yesterday. It's less than 24 hours old.
Now imagine if I sat down with these guys, and I did, by the way, but that's neither here nor there. The thing is, the word cult actually has it's got a few different definitions, so we'll pick the definition. Go, Mr. Particular Individual. This definition of cult says A, B. Here it is. Do you agree with this definition of cult? Well, yeah, sure, I agree with that. Okay, well then, Mr. Particular Individual. It lists 5 criteria. A, B, C, D, and E. Let's examine each one of these. Criteria A. Well, no, that doesn't apply.
But remember, guys, we don't care. We don't care about about Retzloff and I wish I could fornicate and all. You don't care about any of these people.
Criteria B. Oh, it doesn't apply either. C, D, E. By these criteria, and you just said you believe in this definition, I'm not in a cult. I'm also, still going to church. I'm a Catholic.
Yeah, sure you are.
At which point, particular individual go, oh, well, seems like a lot of clever reasoning there. I still feel like you're in a cult.
Hey, Becla, remember when these dudes did like a 3.5 hour podcast about how they don't care? Like how we don't care that these guys keep making fun of us. We don't care about it. That's why we're like going away and leaving the internet because some people made fun of us.
How do you argue with that? He feels like How do you argue with that, folks? Balespawn says you don't convince people with facts or logic. That never works. Just look at debates. You don't convince proles. So what it looks a lot like to me is that the priests and the merchants got way too much control a few hundred years ago, and now they're absolutely priests. Like that's what a university professor is. They profess the truth. Go look at that. Look at your father in Fallout 3. He's playing a priest.
What?
Right? He is priest cast.
He's priest cast?
Look at that. I was mentioning House on the last live stream, and look at the the fundamental assumption
Your father's a priest cast? What the fuck?
that anybody that questions the medical establishment is flawed.
Aurini is fucking house. He is the doctor of society. If only we had have listened to him, then like none of this would, because he's the fucking house, because like he has these unconventional things, and if only we had listened to him, if only we had have listened to the free folk, then things would have worked out somehow.
The irony being, you can figure out what the Catholic Church what the Catholic Church believes. You can find out if you have an IQ of 110, and you can understand if you have an IQ of 130.
Big
It
brain.
doesn't require superhuman feats.
Fucking like I hate the IQ thing is such a fucking meme. It's such a meme.
Whereas what the Church of Medicine believes, I don't know. Well, it doesn't. There is no canon right there. And yet
Hear that, Beckloff? He was the you worship the Church of Medicine. Whatever that means.
So both
I don't know
sides
what that means.
have their priests, they have their merchants, their businessmen, their woke businessmen. If you want, like, the priests on the right,
I think he's been taking a bit too much medicine.
Ben Shapiro is one of the priests.
What?
Okay? He's one of the spiritual leaders that discerns the truth. He's pretty pathetic. Yeah, most of the priests on the right are pretty pathetic. The businessmen are even worse. Like they're scrappling and greedy, and they don't share anything. Point is, recognize the character of the people that we're talking about right here.
Who?
And ask yourself, I was about to say people we're dealing with, but ask yourself, do you even want to deal with them? Yeah, Cernovich. Cernovich is a priest of the right. And Cernovich... I'm going to get some ice, and then I'm going to talk about some gossip that everybody already knows.
Oh boy, here we go. What's the gossip? This is like the most fucking non sequitur. I can't follow this shit at all. Like, at all. What is he doing?
So, Cernovich, on his old website, what was this? Again, 10 years ago. Back before everybody on the right was obsessed with heterosexuality,
What?
he posted, he posted
What is this obsessed with heterosexuality thing? What the fuck is he talking about?
an article about his first hookup with a tranny. Where, you know, he was, and it was that shameful loser lit that's quite popular.
What does a tranny have to do with
And
anything?
it was hilarious, terrible, honest.
Okay, some of the chat says like, what a celebrity team up between Aurini and DSP. That would be fucking amazing if these two got together and started talking about shit.
again, every writer on the right is trying to be Hunter S. Thompson. And it was very Hunter S. Thompson-esque. Except then, people made fun of him for sleeping with a tranny. And so he said, well, actually, I didn't write this. This was he added something on there. Then he deleted the website.
We live in a society, people. We live in a society.
Which, on the one again, Cernovich is whatever he needs to be at the moment.
Really, I wouldn't go there if I were you. He's whatever he needs to be at the moment.
If he makes a misstep, he makes sure to delete it.
He makes a misstep, he makes sure to delete it. Really, I wouldn't go down that field if I were you. This whole thing is just such fucking projection.
Simultaneously, how pathetic is this obsession with heterosexuality
What?
on the right? It's not an obsession with having healthy relationships. It's an obsession with appearance.
An obsession with heterosexuality. Irene, this may not be a place you want to go down.
And the obsession with appearance is how you get gay priests molesting kids. It's how you get gay politicians marrying a beard.
What?
It's how you get Mike Enoch as the priest of the fascist right. It's how you get Mike Enoch breaking up with his wife because she's Jewish. Why, dude, she's your wife.
That's not what happened. She broke up with him. I think, at least. Did he just, like, criticize? The starting topic was we live in a society. Why is he attacking people for caring about heterosexuality? Like, why would he go down that? I don't even get it.
Not really our problem, is it, guys? It's not really our fight, is it? Another thing I was mentioning a few live streams ago. Mm-hmm. You know, if this railway protest that we have right now, if they hired me, I'd go talk to the chiefs and meet the, like, et cetera, et cetera.
I would be able to solve I'd be able to solve all of Canada's problems, which is why you should put me in charge of society.
Oh, Rebecca, no, he knew she was Jewish. See, back in college, he was a communist. And then he became a right-wing fascist. And his wife was down with it. She helped him sing a parody song about Jews on Christmas. But then he got heat for being... It's an outfit. It's all an outfit for these guys. Like, listen, Cernovich is in pretty darn good shape, right? And he used to run a juicing website or something. If you want to take some fitness advice from Cernovich, you could go to a worse and it doesn't matter that he brought a tranny home one time. Like, does that matter?
Yes,
I mean, if it matters to you, then okay. Guess what? I've got lots of skeletons in my closet. I mean, we all do. We're all imperfect people. If you're looking for the perfect person.
I don't know if everybody's fucked a tranny. I don't know if that's something like everybody's done.
DC Pagan comments. Parties have replaced cults qua scientia calendorum deorum. Calendorum. I'm not reading it. Scientia. Calendorum deorum.
Oh, this is better than I thought it was going to be.
Calend.
This is fucking amazing.
Ah, jeez. Almost. I'm so close to knowing what that means.
He can
Obviously,
speak
scientia
Latin.
being used as a verb there.
He can speak
Wisdom,
Latin. There's nothing he cannot
discernment,
speak.
Deorum, of like God as direct object. Basically, scientia de calendorum deorum. Calend. Not sure what it is, but yeah, it's like
You're right,
it's
it
the
is
way
on
we
his
understand
LinkedIn
God,
that
the
he's
way we
fluid and lighted.
approach God. The purpose of ritual is scientia calendorum deorum. We need ritual when we approach God, and yes, the political party.
Yes, his stream is live. People keep like asking. No, this is not like this is less than a day ago. He streamed this like last night. This is less than 24 hours old.
Parties have replaced cults. In fact, go back to the Roman times. The cults were the parties.
What? This is too big brain for me. I'm having trouble following this.
Cultus is the perfect passive participle of colere. Oh! So, we understand God through the cult or through the ritual. Or worship.
What?
Science is the worship of the divine. Honest to God, the greatest thing, I'll tell you what made Europe great was that separation of church and state.
What?
Because they're never separated, are they? They are the exact same thing. But no, we're going to pull them apart. We're going to pull them apart. I've been half toying with the idea of writing a document about how to restore/reboot the Canadian polity.
Yes! Oh man, I would want to read that so... Actually, no, it'd probably be really boring. But yeah, I'm going to write my document about how we fix society, and people are going to look at it, and they're going to go, this is fucking brilliant. And then they're going to put me in charge of society.
And now I can't do this as a member. I can't do this. First of all, I'm not a Canadian citizen. I'm a Canadian subject. I can't do it as a Catholic. Because I have no authority within the Catholic Church. I'm a parishioner. I'm a jerk. I'm a joke. I'm like bottom of the food chain. Right? But I can write a document. And I think, well, first of all, Canada needs a king. And now it needs to be somebody of a correct bloodline.
Me, I should be the king of Canada.
That we can justify, but I think the British monarchy has absolutely failed. Yes, I'm a subject of both. I'm subject of both. That's it. I've got no say in what happens in Canada. I've got no say in what happens to the church, as it should be.
No, you want to run
But
society.
I can write a document telling other people how to fix this broken system. So find a king. We need somebody that's not currently in any significant portion of position of power. Preferably somebody with holdings in Canada, but anyway. They need to be Catholic.
Yeah.
They need to be anointed by the Pope.
Okay.
And Because I'm not talking about the document. Here's the point I'm getting to.
There's a point?
Is that most people, the idea of anointing a monarch by the Pope and having that be significant, what? Who, like, the Pope's a joke. The fake Pope has coronavirus, maybe. Maybe give him to that Asian woman that was grabbing him.
Is he a sede
Never thought of
vacantis
that,
now?
did you?
Is he?
No, Don Cherry can be our national spokesperson. He's not king. We need somebody that is in the bloodline, right? We need somebody that we can at least concoct a case that they have the right to be king.
Like me. I should be king.
Forcing, demanding, requiring the Pope to come anoint our king before we'll follow him would actually make the Pope start taking his job seriously. And it's like, no, washing migrant feet is not your job, Pope. Maintaining political power of the papal state and anointing just monarchs, that's your job. Anyway, that's that forceful separation, right? Because when cult and politics, you got America. The beautiful thing about Catholicism is it separates the two of them, forces them separate, and yet it forces the king to be the spiritual guide of his country, the same way the father is the spiritual guide of the family. And
Yes, Napoleon. I think he is writing a letter to the Pope to ask the Pope to crown him the King of Canada. I think that is literally his plan.
forces
More
the
power
Pope
to him. Can't be worse
to
than
be a
Trudeau.
political leader of the papal state, even though he's a priest. You know, it's like those are impossible circles to square. Being a priest and being a potentate. These the absolute opposite things, and yet both kings and popes need to be both.
This is literally the most big brain thing I've ever heard.
Prince Harry is married to an American. And an American of low birth and questionable parentage as well. That's my problem there. However, wouldn't be my decision to make in the first place.
Well, of course it would be.
I'm even really hesitant to say that it has to be a Catholic.
You just said it did, though.
I'm really hesitant to say that, except it's also... Listen, if the Catholic Church were a matter of opinion, okay, but it's not a matter of opinion, it's a matter of objective fact. You can choose whether or not to be Catholic the same way you can choose whether or not you believe in mathematics.
What?
Difference being that your choice of mathematics doesn't involve an emotional investment. Catholicism does. And second of all, there isn't tons and tons of negative false propaganda spread about mathematics than there is about Catholicism, so you got to be gentler with that. The goal isn't to be right, the goal is to win. You know what? Listen, guys, there are people that spread rumors that
Like Beckloff.
Harry is a pussy, which, you know, his wife is, whatever. Even if those were true, that's irrelevant. If he gets baptized Catholic and is anointed by the Pope, I'm not saying he's the best candidate, but he is a candidate.
Why would we put Harry above William? Can anyone explain that to me? Like, why you would prefer Harry over William? I don't get it.
So, I tell you what, here's what most people don't realize is that, like, Trudeau's actually just, like, non-Canadians don't realize this, but, like, Trudeau was really just an unfunny practical joke that got out of hand. So yeah, I'll happily take Prince Harry, King Harry. Although I think it should be King Harold. I think Harry is too familiar.
Sorry, why is
for
he
a
against
subject
William? I
to
don't
use for
really.
monarchy.
Oh, more hair? Is that the reason?
You know, there's a rumor going around Ottawa that's actually just a skin suit, just like a rubber skin suit full of squirrels, and the squirrels don't know what the fuck they're doing anymore. It was just a prank, and it's completely out of control now.
What's just what the fuck is he talking about? That Justin Trudeau's a skin
Virgin
suit?
Until Marriage says, the Catholic Church is the POC's church. Africans and Latinos make up the vast majority. It's not a white man's church anymore. Dude, it's God's bride. It's not yours. It's not black people's. It's not white people's. The Catholic Church is the bride of Christ.
I love how his conversion to Catholicism is very blatantly just a way for him to, like, be morally superior to people. It's just another way of him saying that he needs to run society.
In Shakespeare, King Harry was a badass that killed Hotspur. Okay, well, fair enough, fair enough. Never been a fan of the familiarized shortenings of names. If I were, I would be a Dave. Hi, my name is Dave.
Like DSP! Oh my god! It's the fucking Mandela effect. DSP is Dave, and Aurini is Dave.
Not me. I like formalities.
Whoa.
Okay, I'm not going to allow that just because it might give them an excuse to ban my channel, but Virgin Until Marriage just said, why does God want to marry a black person?
Whoa.
Listen, dude, they're 81% human.
Whoa.
The MSNBC
Did he
reported
actually just go
recently
there?
that 19% of African DNA is from a unknown hominid. They are literally 19% different from everybody else on the planet.
Is that true? Why is he going, like, full on, like, hardcore wingnut here? I thought he just ranted about, like, how much he hates white nationalists, and he's going, like, full balls to the wall here.
If they're the future of the church, that's because whites have failed. I wonder if I need to clarify
No,
that.
I'm not going to
He's
bother
being
Googling
racist.
this.
No, whites have they absolutely have all the advantages. And they are destroying themselves. They are failing. And if the If the future is non-white, the only people we have to blame are white people.
Well, yeah, and some other people, but we can't talk about them. Although they're kind of white people too. Yeah, it is white people. Yeah.
Rebecca asks, what play? Wait, where did I say play? Remind me of what that was?
He doesn't know. He's too fucking drunk.
Remember how it went? Truth was brought to the Gentiles to make the Jews jealous.
I want to know what Aurini gave up for Lent. He should have given up alcohol for Lent. Sorry, I'm just going to take a side note here about Lent. I remember at my old church, one of the few homilies I liked is the priest said, "A man has as many masters as he has vices." I forget if it was C.S. Lewis or who said that initially, but that's very true. And Aurini has a lot of masters.
Who's to say it won't be brought to the non-whites to make us jealous? But don't get me wrong, I'm as sick of every other red-blooded European. I'm going to stop using that turn of phrase. I am as sick. Well, first of all, because yeah, I do have blue blood in my veins. I'm as sick as every other blue-blooded European about seeing our countries overrun with the detritus of the third world. But that doesn't mean they're subhuman. You know, I once said, I was chatting with
They're called the free folk.
Mexican girl was over at my place. An immigrant to Canada, nurse, I believe was her profession. And I said to her, she was like knee-jerk to that, that's racist. I'm like, let me put it like this. Imagine that Canada, the United States, took all of the people in our prison system and sent them down to Mexico. How would you feel about
That's a fucking great idea. We should do that.
that? And she paused for a second into, oh, no. I'm going to have to think about that. Blue blood means nobility.
Aurini is nobility. He is the king of the
My
Raiders.
ancestry goes back a lot.
So they want so this is the hint. This is the roundabout way of saying it. So the next king of Canada has to be someone of blue blood who isn't in a position of power at the moment and is a Roman Catholic. This sounds familiar. Sounds like he's describing someone.
Virgin Until Marriage says there will still be whites when the Pope has been black for generations. I would be listen. The person in charge of the United Nations, their ethnicity is good. The person in charge of the WHO, their ethnic loyalties are going to be significant. Doesn't matter as much with somebody whose only job is to once every 10 or 20 years put his foot down on a theological question. Club says, but aren't all Euros descendants of Charlemagne and King John? It goes further back than that. I'd have to look it up. But it goes back thousands of years for first common male ancestor. I've got minor nobility in my bloodline along the matrilineal side and obscure but interesting ancestry on my patrilineal side.
That's why I should run society.
There's a reason that as an Italian, I behave very Germanically.
My ancestry on the patrilineal side, I'm directly descendant from a Norman baron. Is I guess kind of my ties to nobility.
Oh, virgin and until marriage. You're Protestant, I take it? Here, guys, fill up a whole bunch of comments in there while I run to the washroom.
He's gonna go and throw up. I love how Charlemagne is a blessed, despite like all the like illegitimate children he had. He was just such a Chad. They were just like, okay, it was kind of bad you had like all those affairs, but you're such a fucking Chad. We're just gonna let it go. Is I think basically what the Catholic Church said to uh Charlemagne. Is my guess at least. This is fucking great content. This is why I should be the one to run society, because I'm ancient Italian nobility. He's fucking. What are the odds? Maybe he's descended from Julius Evola. That's my guess. Rooting around for some more meth. Anyways, so guys, we were having a debate on one of the groups I'm in on Discord about like how we're gonna make the white ethno state. So my proposition is we build a floating platform in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean and we cook meth there, and we use that to fund the building of Atlantis. That's my plan.
Alrighty, we are back. Josh points out, even mega blue-pilled cuck Francis told the women asking for ordination to go start their own church. Yeah, and Francis is bad? He's not that bad.
What?
David's good with a spicy take on Pete. I don't think I can say his last name.
Pete Butt Juice?
On a PG-13 live stream. Leaving the presidential race. Honestly, it freaking surprises me. Because last I heard, Jesus was not white.
Oh,
well, it
wait a minute.
Depends upon your
Why does
definition.
it keep jumping?
I don't think I can say his last name on a PG-13 live stream. Leaving the presidential race. Honestly, it freaking surprises me. Because last I heard about Pete censored last name is he was all excited about going to the White House. He had all his shit packed.
What?
Honkies don't want Jesus anymore. See if Gaia can save you. Jesus was not white. Well, it depends upon your definition of white. If you're going for the trifold definition of races, the Caucasoid, Mongoloid, and Africanoid, then yes, he was white. if you're going for something a little bit more subtle than that. I don't know.
I don't know why. I just love the Methno state is just I find really really funny. I don't know why.
like you can isolate the Arabs as a separate race if you want, but it's getting really nitpicky. Okay, to separate the Semites from the Whites.
Yes,
Well,
he
if you're going
says
to
it that way
separate the
too.
Semites as a distinct group, then you've got at least 3 European groups as well. I mean, I don't know. I think like Semitic no, it is fairly distinct, granted. It's a distinct form of white. The other forms of white are less distinct.
No, it's Caucasian. White is like a subtype of Caucasian.
But Semite is a form of Caucasoid.
Yeah, but Caucasoid and white aren't the exact same thing. The definition of who is white is like really contentious and really fucking difficult, but it's yeah.
It's a weird one. Again, not an expert, not my field of study.
What is your field of study?
I think I identify more Germanically than with my biggest ancestral portions of English, Scottish, and Irish, which make up 66%. My German only. Well, English and Scottish are Germanic. I mean, that's the thing. Like, from my matrilineal side,
Maronites are honorary.
my name ultimately is a Scottish noble family. But it's a Scottish noble family that came from the Norway, which is, is part of early Germania. And same thing for actually my patrilineal name. Also, now the history of that one is more tenuous, but goes back to like mentions by Julius Caesar. He mentioned an Arrhenius, who was a priestess of the Germanic tribes. So both sides of my bloodline traces back to the Vikings. And I mean, ultimately, it all goes back to the Indus Valley, right?
No, the Ashkenazi. I don't know. I'm just gonna say it. Ashkenazi Jews are white. Like, I don't see really how you could say they aren't. You can say like because they're not Christian and they like have a different cultural religious group, but I mean they're white people. It's kind of like yeah.
You'd say my ancestry goes back to when people got sick of living on the Black Sea. And Hell's Harbinger points it out. England, Scotland, and Ireland apparently. Ireland does have. Ireland, I would argue, is closer to pure Celtic. Whereas pure Celtic. You want pure Celtic, look at France. Okay?
What?
Outside of Normandy. France proper is pure Celtic.
No, it isn't. It's Germanic.
But as soon as you start mixing the Celts in Britain and Ireland and Scotland, you're mixing with the Picts, which are, and that's going way back. That's going prehistory. It's going, like, you got to read the Mabinogion to try and figure out what the heck was going on then.
What's the Mabinogian?
Hey, booty gay, no more foul talk. No more swearing on this live stream. Semites are a mixed race, Afro-Asiatic. They're yeah, they got a bit of that. I mean, so do everybody's a little bit mixed. Okay, we're different we're different subspecies. We're not different species. Well, abos are arguably a different species. Just because we can reproduce doesn't mean that we aren't different species. Different species can sometimes reproduce.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if abos are a different species. That would not surprise me.
Here's the thing. The Semitic people are so bloody close to us that the problems with Semitic people is they keep worshipping Baal. Alright, that's the problem with the Semites. They keep sacrificing babies to their fire god.
What?
The Jews did it. The North Africans did it. Yeah. Culture, I think, is the bigger difference there. Although, maybe it's biology.
I mean, Jews sacrificed people to the fire god? What?
I don't know.
Where'd that come from? The fire god?
Gives me that shit says Mary and Joseph would have been in the J2 haplogroup, Mesopotamian. Virgin till marriage. Nords, Germanics, Celts, all white. Jesus was a little brown person who probably looked like no, Jesus, dude, we know what he looked like. He was a white guy with really strong bone features.
Oh, this is cringe.
So yeah, Semitic, but white.
This is fucking cringe.
Like we literally know exactly what he looked like. Shroud of Turin. If you don't believe the Shroud of Turin is legit, then somebody in the 14th century knew how to paint a perfect photographic negative, including all the three-dimensional deformations that a death shroud would have. I think believing in a miracle is a lot easier. Ireland was heavily settled by Norwegians and Danes. Scotland by North Germans and Danes. Anglo-Saxons got the name from the Angle and the Saxons of the two German tribes who were brought there by Brittonic kings as mercenaries.
Mercenaries? What's a mercenary?
From what I gather as well about Christ's lineage, which I could be wrong on this, it had a lot of ties to Western Europe.
What?
It was not the more obvious lineage that the Pharisees would have liked. The Pharisees were one of the 12 tribes of Israel. More or less the other.
Jesus was Western European? What the fuck does that mean?
12 tribes became Christian.
No, Eric, I know that the Canaanites occasionally sacrificed children to fire deities. I never heard of the Hebrews having done that before. That's something that's like totally new to me.
France got its names from the Franks, a Germanic tribe. Normans, Lombards, and Burgundians were all Germanic tribes, displaced the Celtic Gauls. Hello, my girl. Hello, my girl.
It's Space Dog.
Hello, my girlie.
His
Are you
only
a very
friend.
important dog? Are you an important dog? You're a very good girl indeed. Yes, you are. Honestly, guys, most of these questions are pretty moot. Because on the one hand, I would absolutely adore to have some good genetic research on all of this. But we're not going to. And if you've had your DNA tested, spoiler warning, they actually just look up your ancestry records, and unless there's a surprise in your DNA, it's a scam. They don't actually test your DNA. They just look up your ancestry records through the Mormon Church.
Do they? I don't think that's how it works.
And second of all, I mean, like, Celtic or German. The Celts were just an earlier wave out of the Indus Valley.
What?
That's all they were.
They were?
I mean, the Celts and the Germans
Maybe they were.
have
I don't
such
know.
minor differences. And on top of that, there was so much intermarriage that went on between the different groups. So saying, like, are you Celtic or are you German is like asking, are you Canadian or American? Largely a moot point. Rebecca says, thoughts on the Oscars. Is that the movie award thing they do? Is that statue actually made of gold? That'd be what I wonder about. It can't be. No, I guess it might be. Like if it was obviously not 24 karat, but 14 karat gold. Statue that big, 14 karat gold. Worth a few $1,000s. Few $1,000 award for dickheads that make millions. Yeah, that makes sense. Actually, hey, you want to look out for look out for when they start filling them with tungsten. That's when you know something's going on.
Yeah, because tungsten has the same density as gold.
That's when you know there's problems. I'm sorry, I don't know anything about the award. I know that there was some movie called Parasite that
It was a good movie, actually.
won awards, and I haven't seen the movie. I don't think I will.
I liked it. I thought it was a good movie.
From what I understand, the movie Parasite, it's basically the poor people are complete pieces of garbage that stab one another in the back. They don't even have a good plan to rob the rich people. They don't work together. They stab one another in the back, and it just idiocy. Whereas the rich people do nothing wrong.
Yeah, that's true.
What's bullshit, Rebecca? Okay, Joker. Who cares? All these jack-offs make way too much money. So, like, who cares? Who won their stupid award show?
I should be the one making the money. Me.
Yeah, maybe they didn't let Joker win because people on the right like Joker, which, by the way, like, there's major issues with Joker. You really shouldn't be identifying with a loser that fantasizes about having a relationship with a black woman because he's too pathetic to even fantasize about having a relationship with a white woman. None of them are American films. Hollywood is... We were talking about the Brahmin versus the Amerikaner. Amerikaner films never win. And the
Never.
Brahmin want you dead, Rebecca. And you're upset that the Brahmin gave the award to a Korean film instead of a Brahmin film? Like who cares about? It's like black people being upset over Jussie Smollett, right? Jussie Smollett is a rich piece of garbage that if I cared enough to even know, guarantee you he's got connections to the Obamas, connections to the Kennedys, connections to every other slimeball piece of garbage crime family out there. And your average black person just trying to afford rent and an Xbox, Justin
And some Air
Jussie
Jordans.
Smollett, like, dude, that guy wouldn't piss on you in the street if you were on fire. Let's see. Problem with the DNA theory is that the percentage of my ancestry has been refined over time. The problem with the DNA theory is the people doing the science are lying.
Of course they are, because they didn't say I was 100% Aryan.
That's the real problem with it. So, do what we can. Gives me that shit says, did Jesus have the kind of Chad chin that would chop wood? Dude, he had a massive chin. Actually, I'll tell you what I find really fascinating. One of the reasons that I believe that the Shroud of Turin is actually Christ's death shroud is that Christ is so beautifully ugly. He has a face that is so plain, harsh. Like it's ugly and masculine, but so loving and lovable.
Like my face.
You know, you'd expect this, and this is what they were expecting. You think about God coming to Earth, and you expect fantastical beauty, the flowing hair. For those of you that watch Final Space, you know that that face they do with the lips. Where it's just like uncomfortably homoerotically pretty. That's what you'd expect. Instead, we get this carpenter, scars all over his hands, muscular but not Chad
Wouldn't the scars come from like when they drove the nails into him?
muscular, right? Like practical working man, ugly, masculine, muscular. It makes me feel like a pretty little fag, quite frankly. That's what he looks like. And he couldn't look any other way. As soon as you see him, of course that's what he looks like. What else would he look like?
Is Aurini? I'm not even gonna go there.
Look up the Shroud of Turin. Look up the photo negative. What? What? Yes, you are ugly and masculine as well, my honey. You are a very ugly, masculine bitch. Why is your neck so long?
What?
What, you're just gonna blink at me now? Oh my god, this animal, this hound. Hey, I can whack you with my hand too. What, do you want something? What do you want? Good lord.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's uncomfortably homoerotic,
let's see.
but I decided not to go there. To the liquor store.
Up the stairs, and then you're gonna sleep all day. Go eat. God, she's such low quality. Okay, catching up with the comments now. An Israeli film won for best remake of a Hollywood classic for Tora, Tora, Tora. I don't know whether that's a joke or not. They never let Japanese movies into the reward ceremony. Who cares? Virgin until marriage. Oh, this is going to be the worst, the most heretical thing I've ever said. More like Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger had a baby. Kind of like that movie where Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger had a baby. If you forgot that there's no wood in that region of the world, dude, there's wood in that region of the world. It's sort of like Steve Buscemi, but not evil.
What,
Look,
Jesus?
just look up the shroud, guys.
Jesus looks like Steve Buscemi?
Josh says, the shroud also perfectly matches the Divine Mercy image, which isn't particularly impressive until you realize that Saint Faustina never saw it, and we didn't have the facial structure analysis techniques to know that until recently. Yeah, again, you won't find proof of Christ, you'll just find tons and tons of suggestive evidence.
What? No.
Gives me that shit, says any closer to a wife and kids? Well,
I think they're trolling him.
tell you what, brother. I've been reflecting a lot upon my life, trying to figure out where I'm at, what I'm doing, and, you know, what my biography would be.
I'm the smartest,
The kind of chatting
greatest
with these
guy
girls
who's
on,
ever lived.
What are you all about? I like to break down life into septades.
What?
God, that's a terrible name. You guys need to help me come up with the best name, better name for that. But it strikes me that the life of man goes through periods of 7 years.
What?
You spend 7 years unconscious, 7 years as a child, 7 years as a young adult, or a preparatory adult. 21, you spend 7 years as an adult. 28, you spend 7 years as a full adult. 35, 42, 49.
I'm going because
And
people
so if I
are
were
watching.
to describe my life in an elevator pitch, I'd say after growing up in a small town, you know, learning music, being a good student, spent 7 years in the armed forces, being a soldier, got a history degree in that time. I spent 7 years wandering all over North America and trying to prevent a tyrannical government from taking over. And we got Donald Trump, so I'd call that a draw. And since then,
He got Trump elected.
been working at making money.
What? You make
And
money?
after 3 good years of focusing on making money, I'm actually at a really good point where my choices right now are go for the big money or settle for making 50 to 90K this year.
Wait a minute, is Aurini claiming his income is like hundreds of thousands of dollars a year? Like, is that what he's saying? That sounds like what he's saying. Yeah, he was in the army. That's true.
And you need money if you're going to do the wife and kids thing. That said, I think I've got a little bit of adventuring in me still. You know what? If I found a young girl that was interested in adventure, that might just be perfect. I mean, hey, it might sound, well, I don't think it'll sound like bragging to you guys.
I said it would take you place. I would take you places, baby. I didn't say they were places you wanted to go.
But, you know, like all the stuff I was writing 10 years ago, that stuff's distilled itself into the collective. Now, I sure as hell don't get any commissions for that. But, yeah, I had some effects.
He kind of
And
did,
could I have played the
actually.
game better? Yes, but my goal wasn't to be Mike Cernovich. My goal wasn't to be the new mouthpiece. Somebody else can have that role. So I think I pretty much accomplished what I was trying to accomplish.
You were
Yeah,
trying.
maybe not 100%, but, 73%. I'll take Donald Trump. I'll take Donald Trump and your average 21-year-old girl making fun of beta males.
It's quite a life.
And right now, I finally stabilized my finances, more or less, and have a bunch of really, really employable skills.
Developing
And
a
some
product for
people
industry.
That through it, like, some people that I can trust, that I might go into business.
Who the fuck would go into business with Aurini?
So that's where I stand halfway through this current septade. God, septade. Sounds like Kool-Aid made from the septic tank. We need a better term for that, guys. Make sure they are not grabblers. Tell you what, guys, it wasn't grabblers that have screwed me over the years.
It's
It was
Beckloff.
atheists and Protestants.
Yes, it's Beckloff.
I suppose I could talk more about Fallout 3,
Yes!
if that interests y'all.
All 5 people.
Or I could talk about NRX.
Oh, God, that's going to be cringe.
Choice is up to you guys. Which one do you think is interesting? Josh says, just put together. Mayor Pete, likely immunocompromised, stopped campaigning for a couple days due to sickness. Perhaps Corona Chan got him. Rebecca says, talk more about Joker. I haven't seen the movie.
Why?
I mean, I've seen Taxi Driver. It's the same movie as Taxi Driver, right?
No, not really.
That movie. Virgin says talk about NRX. So we're gonna combine Joker and NRX and Taxi Driver. So I ran into this chat stream. It wasn't on 4chan.
Do people want me to do more Aurini streams in the future? Because this is more fun than I thought it was going to be. I just have to make sure I have like 2 hours because these streams are fucking long.
And I don't think it was on 4chan, but it was.
Let's see. It keeps freezing. Oh.
Taxi, is that the movie with Queen? Taxi Driver is just sat up so loudly. She's not looking at me either. She's not even looking at me, but she knows I heard her. She knows I heard her sit up. What's taking so long? All right, yes, you can go outside. You are a terrible dog, though. Wag your tail. Anyway, what I get from Taxi Driver is that...
Okay, who's a bigger loser, Aurini or DSP? I'm gonna still... I don't know. That's a hard one.
That I'm supposed to empathize with Bickle. But I don't.
Who's Bickle?
I don't understand Bickle. I don't understand what are you doing, man? You're driving a taxi, then you're stalking this corporate woman. You go and watch a porn movie for some reason. Then you shave your head into a haircut and randomly decide to save a prostitute she's just going to go back to prostitution afterwards, right? Well, and Joker, it's like, Joker, why are you obsessing about a black single mother? I mean, not to sound like a Brahmin, but the reason that Joker is sexually fantasizing about a black woman with a child is because he has such a low self-esteem that he can't imagine being with a white woman who wasn't a single. Like, he can't imagine being with a powerful woman. He needs a woman that's already broken by her life choices, even for his jerk-off fantasies. It's like he's got the self-awareness to know that he'll never be with Cindy Crawford, so he can't jerk off to Cindy Crawford. Or whoever guys are jerking off to these days.
Okay, I that's about all I can take. I'm getting tired. So, I hope people enjoyed the stream. We only actually got halfway through this. There's another hour and a half left. Maybe I'll take a look at this and see if it's there's anything else interesting. If not, I'll just keep an eyes open to when Aurini does like some of the other videos he does, and maybe we'll take a look at those too. So, God bless everybody. Have a good week. And, oh yeah, right. Sorry, before I go, we're going to do a Super Tuesday stream tomorrow. We're going to do a Super Tuesday stream tomorrow. I'm not sure when exactly. Maybe like 9 o'clock. I haven't really decided yet, but keep that in mind. So, talk to you guys soon.